If you sign a paper, you can come in with them if you would like.
I was always, because I was the only manager there on weekends, and so I was in basketball. So it's just chaos. What's up? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, you're right. People look at me and they're like, how do you do this every day? I'm like, do what?
Yeah.
Well, how can you be around the dogs? Not when I take them home. Like, I just don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just like,
Oh, like all over them, like
Yeah.
suit, you know?
Yeah.
And you're just like, just, you know.
I go through, here's the thing, I always, what I've learned to do over the years is I always lead with all the bad stuff, if there is any, that we know, because I'd rather weed out the wimps, is what we used to call it. Like the ones that don't have it in them to, like, he's on medications and he has seizures. This one may still end up needing amputation, like, if I lead with that stuff, and then I can kind of assess based on how they respond, I can be like, oh, okay, good, well, you know what, this is probably not the right dog for you, let's go look at other dogs, like, that's what I did.
Yeah.
Because I don't have time, I got 500 dogs on the floor, I gotta get them out. You know, I'm not spending 2 hours with one partner, like, can't do that, I don't have that kind of
That's
time.
not even a thing.
Yeah, so we always started with the negative for that reason, because you could go through and you could tell them all the wonderful things, and you go, oh, by the way, you can't live with cats. Well, if you just led with that and they had cats, you could have moved on from that dog and kept going. But now you've wasted a half an hour talking about a dog that isn't even a possibility because you can't be around cats, like, it's that kind of thing. So that's, basically, I learned to do those sorts of things to quickly move through the list of dogs that people have. Like, they come up, you know how the kennel cards that used to hang on from PACC, so at
Yeah,
PACC,
and
they're
I'm
actual
curious.
kennel cards, these are all cut, and so people would come up to see you and they'd have like 15 tags on 15 different dogs. So I'm literally looking up all of the medical and behavioral notes on 15 different dogs.
No.
So I gotta lead with the bad stuff, because we gotta, you have kids, this dog bit a kid, okay, well then that's not, let's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
keep going.
So if that's the case, I'm curious, like, how is it you don't put the medical out there so they could read it?
Right, the reason for that is because, for example, part of it actually is, Solo Vinos is a great one. There's so much stuff on there, there's so many medical terms, it's overwhelming to people, and they see these big words and think it's something scary, and more often than not, it's either a treatment or a medication, and it's nothing. Like, it could be for something like, he started showing you eye symptoms and they put him on doxycycline, and people don't know what that is, they're like, oh, that's scary, okay, it's antibiotics. Your eyes will be, like, so it's that kind of stuff. So, the average layperson's interpretation of those forms is why they don't put them on the kennels at PACC. That's why they have to talk to people. Same thing like with him, I can explain, in looking his information up to her while we were talking, when he came in, they did blood work, they also sent out a valley fever titer, and he does have valley fever. It's a 1 in 8 ratio, so it's actually a little low, but he does have it. So now she knows that. So again, going out, she wasn't concerned about that. It was like, okay, it's not bad.
Do you have either cash or my,
Hello, bud. Come on, see? Good boy.
Oh, yeah.
So, you just kind of, the motions. Now, there's some, like when you got a doctor, I don't know, there was just something about it, and that's how I am. It's like, I can be fine with all these different dogs and then one dog is gonna get my hamstrings are flicking. Like, everybody got so emotional with Sandy and, when they got adopted, you know, had cancer and everything. And I was the exact opposite. I was ecstatic that she was going, they were going where they were.
Sure.
I didn't get emotional. Everybody else here was all crying like a bunch of babies and I
What
didn't.
about me and Thomas?
Now, see, I knew you ended up giving him exactly, remember what I told you he needed? And that's exactly what he needed. So I was super excited for him because I knew that he needed a dog that would tell him how to get a
And I
dog.
don't think he's as bonded with you.
No,
I don't
no,
think
because he
he-
wasn't really here. I couldn't bond with him. He was just like, I didn't get to see him at all that day.
And then I left and you're like, well, did you fall in love? You
Because I
nailed
knew
it.
you pretty much had. I knew you just had to go home and you know, and talk to your husband
And
about
think
it.
about it for less than 12 hours. So how did we do? Were you a good boy?
He took a big piece. So I'm not doing what it was.
Did he go over the leash and show you that he wanted to go out?
Yeah, so that's what I brought up. Is he went over to the leashes, like he stared at them for a minute,
Wow.
and he sat down. And then
So
he-
yeah, if you're paying attention and watching the
Wow.
cues, he'll probably let you know. He's super smart, that's part of his problem. And I really don't know how the actual injury happened, but judging by how he just leaps into life, it's not terribly surprising, to be honest.
He hasn't jumped out of these, has he?
No,
Okay.
no.
We have our backyard has walls, and the front wall is what I was concerned about, but it perhaps
Yeah, I would
wouldn't
not
really
leave
be
him
possible.
in a yard unsupervised.
Yeah, I wouldn't want
A
him.
husky anyway, to be honest, is kind of always, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a super big yard. We can see the whole thing through a back window.
Right.
And it's,
Well, I would say like short walks as he's building up his
Yeah.
stamina because he's been on basically like
Yeah.
bed rest. They've kept him in a half kennel, but he now has a full kennel to use.
yeah, we saw that. It
Yeah, they
was
had
nice
restricted
and big.
his, yeah, so yeah, that's right, you did come up from there. So where he was, he only had to the divider until 2 days ago. They finally opened it up because they had some
Let me tell you
room.
too, you told me to walk him short, but he had so much energy that we ended up going all the way down to the end of the parking lot.
Oh, really?
And so- yes, and then we came back though, just
Look
about.
at her, he's looking at you like you are narking me out. You see the
Yes.
expression on his face, he's like, what are you telling her that for?
Right, and he came back and he was like, and so we sat down on the curb
Mhm.
and, you know, just to get, you know, and then he picked back up, but that was too far for him.
Yeah, so we just went down to the middle section that leads out to the parking lot. Out of the
Right.
parking lot back.
Yeah, yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And he does that a couple of times a day when he's here with us.
Mhm.
Generally at the shelter, he only goes for like 1 or 2 short walks a day. But here, and I think that's one of the things he's loved about being here is that he's got a much bigger space than he has there. And then he gets to go outside, so he's really enjoyed that. Huh, you're so happy when you see me coming in the mornings.
Probably get 3 or 4 decent medium ones if we get them.
Good.
I mean, we both have pretty similar routines, so there's always gonna be a pair of eyes on them.
Okay.
Yeah, I work out of the house, so I mean, my office
Good.
will always be open.
Cause I think that's the thing is we don't have a lot of detailed information about, from the owner.
Other than Andrew, maybe.
Yeah, I'm looking to see.
Good
You may have
catch.
told me something else that I forgot.
That's okay. No, and I'm gonna actually go and pull the sheets that we have, on him. So the last time that they saw him, as far as I can tell, the last note was entered on the 23rd, so a week ago. It says wounds healing healthily, small amount of discharge, cleaned with Chlorohex, gait improved, puts weight on affected limb, half the time during the walk, which is about what
Yeah,
we've seen.
so on the way back, he was putting weight on his foot.
Yeah, so, and I think part of it is just that it's become a habit to not use it, because when it was bandaged, he wouldn't put any weight, it wasn't weight bearing at all. So he's been without a bandage, since the 18th, but like I said, he's gonna have to stay in the cone because he does chew on his foot.
Yeah, that's what,
And once he gets focused on it, like we tried yesterday while someone was in here with him, and once he decided he wanted to chew on those toes, we couldn't distract him any longer, so I had to put the cone back on.
yeah,
That makes sense.
that's okay. I did notice, he moved for his tail twice.
Yeah.
They're trying to chew. I think it's probably because that's about the only thing you can reach at this point on his body. I can't chew here, but I'm gonna get the tail.
We got him off because I moved here to Salt Lake City and the roommates that I lived with,
Yeah, so now he's got the cone on and all the
he had a
time.
hot spot. He had a hot spot once a year on his foot.
Right. And chew and
So
chew and
like,
chew,
I
yeah.
saw that, I'm like, oh, sure.
He loves his toys.
Yeah, no, totally. Let me grab his paperwork so I can see if there's anything more on there for us.
Lucky. Do we have Lucky?
Lucky knows.
Was that a German Shepherd?
He loves his reflection.
Is that a terrier?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was cute.
Yeah.
It was on our website, I didn't see him here, but.
Maybe it's Pat.
The only Lucky I can remember is the one that Johnny ended up adopting, the big shepherd.
That's the only one.
And he was a big floopy shepherd, but I don't remember.
Look on Pat.
Okay.
See if it's on PACC instead of this.
I'm not, but I'm just not even remembering having another dog named Lucky up here. Are you sure it was at our website?
I don't know,
Now?
it could have been, no, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Could've been PACC, huh?
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, if, on ours, we're here Thursday through Sunday, so if you look at our Facebook page, every morning at 10 a.m. that is from.
Okay.
So you'll know we're getting training up here that day.
That's great.
Okay? Yeah, you're welcome. Have a great day.
Bye.
But I think it's approximately.
Yes. Oh, yes. But you have some left, look.
Alright, so, yeah, I don't have, owner surrender on him, I only have just, when they went into his kennel, for some reason, they altered it 3 times on the 24th of December, that's very bizarre. So the only interactions he's had with another dog, they did a one-on-one, with a submissive neutered male husky. He went in and approached, height seeking, which is when they try to tower over the other dog. He was stiff and growling. He attempted to bite the back of the other dog's neck. The other dog avoided and ducked, but after pulling Solo away, he continued hard staring and growling. So they think he might be either dog selective, you know, but I've seen those behaviors here as well.
Yeah, there was a dog, when we were walking, there was a dog outside, he didn't do anything. He saw the dog, but he didn't
Right,
do
and he
anything.
didn't have a reaction.
It was,
Yeah, 10
and,
feet away.
and 15 feet away, so I was thinking it might be a proximity thing.
It could be, it could also
related to the
be,
fall.
here, it could be leash or barrier reactivity, because he's done it when he's been on leash as he's going past the dogs. But he's also done it when like these two come out, he will frequently kind of get stupid for a second. But like I said, it could be a combination of barrier reactivity, which is when they're like at a fence like this. There's a barrier between him and other animals, or sometimes it's him, yeah, not him and you, but it could be a dog and people, that kind of thing. Because this is like a yard fence, so
Yeah.
if they were protective of their space in a previous home, then that
It
would
makes sense.
naturally carry over.
Our fences are completely solid, so.
Yeah, it's
Oh, that's cool.
It's great.
Yeah, so I would say whenever he goes outside in the beginning, to keep a leash on him.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that until you know what he's likely to do. And the thing is with him is like everything's nice and mellow, and then all of a sudden, boop, switch gets flipped and crazy has shows up. So he's got a cool personality. He's not nuts all the time, but he definitely has his moments of high energy.
Yeah, it's husky for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's great, because it sounds like you're familiar with the breed, because that's been my concern since he's been coming up here. That people come in and see him, they're like, oh, he's beautiful. Yeah, he's beautiful. He's insane.
Yeah, I was.
He's not really insane, but I try and push that, because it weeds out, we were just talking about that while you guys were out walking. It weeds out the people that really aren't appropriate adopters or fosters
Just
for a dog.
Just potato.
The people that are like, Jesus, these furs coming out in giant clumps, like,
That's
yeah.
normal.
That's kind of how that works. Yeah, your house, just call it litter and live it.
Actually, I think I think if somebody came to me with that, I'd just be like that name, like the, oh my gosh.
Oh,
Oh no.
Yes, exactly. So he likes, what's interesting here with him is, he likes, sometimes he'll go up on the couch, sometimes he's on the bed, sometimes he's just on the cool concrete, but he also likes to pull blankets off and then he rearranges how he likes them,
oh,
so.
it's an interior decorator.
Yeah,
Good.
very much
I
so.
feel like that's fine. We have, yeah, we've already expected to put like something over the couch.
Right.
Because,
Yes,
but
yeah, that's a good
I'm
idea.
also used to dogs just dragging their stuff.
Right? Yeah, and he will absolutely he'll put whatever it is that he wants moved, whether it's a toy or a blanket or whatever, or a dog bed, he'll just drag it to where he
Well,
wants it.
I did also notice that I picked up the toy and handed it to him, and he went automatically to the bed. I was gonna ask about food. Is he defensive with the food?
That hasn't been my experience since he's been here with us.
Okay.
So here we feed them, basically a dry kibble, that we add about a heaping tablespoon of, canned food, and then a little bit of water to kind of incorporate the canned food. And we really just do that to make it a little bit more palatable for them, because a lot of them come up here and they're picky eaters.
Yeah.
So, but he generally eats pretty well. The only time he hasn't, my suspicion is that he probably ate right before he got here.
Okay.
They feed right about the time that we pick them up, so sometimes if they're ahead of schedule, the dogs will get fed
Yeah,
right
we
before.
walked through one of the kennels and they were picking up bowls. Or there was a cart with like, it looks like fresh bowls.
Yeah, so generally for us, we pick up every day at 10 o'clock. And so that's right about the time that they're finishing with cleaning and getting
Yeah,
ready
right
to feed.
about opening.
Yeah, so like, Baloo, the guy, the little short-legged guy in the front, he, the last 2 days hasn't eaten much, and I just assumed it was from, he's still not feeling great, his meds are starting to work. Today he came in and he had his food, they hadn't been fed yet.
Yeah,
So
that makes
I
sense.
think he had probably eaten, at the shelter, and they literally were right next door to one another at the shelter. Their
Oh.
kennels were like
Oh,
89 and
okay.
90, or 90 and 91.
Yeah,
something
his is
like that.
90.
So, yeah, and Baloo is right next door to him at 91. So,
Yeah. I was
and
just-
in fact, it would have made my life really easy if he got along with him, because then I could have taken them both out at the same time to
Yeah.
load up, instead of making a trip all the way up to the parking lot and coming all the way back in and all the way back out again.
Yeah, I did notice that a lot of the dogs were, some of them were paired. That was an instinct. Instinctually, I just thought, okay, good, they get along with other dogs.
Right.
But with this is something that's.
Yeah, he's still got a little ways to
Yeah,
go yet.
it can be worked on in the future. That's one of the things that.
Yeah.
But what I was asking about